You're walking along the beach when something unexpected washes up.
Still in like perfect shape.
Yeah, it's nearly
So
perfect.
where has it been 28 years? Don't you wonder?
Heather Baird and her 5-year-old son Ryder.
A message in a bottle. It feels like something out of a storybook, but for some people, this actually happens.
There's this bottle buried, so I kind of reached down and had to kind of pull it, dig it. I looked and it's sealed. I said, oh my God, this is a note.
From beachcombers finding long-lost notes to surprise letters showing up from across the globe, these messages travel through time, carrying untold stories and hidden secrets. But what's inside these bottles? Are they forgotten love letters, desperate pleas for help, or maybe just a quick hello from someone on the other side of the world? Let's crack them open and find out. Number 1. Mysterious message. Christine NJOM loves kayaking, especially when she spots dolphins. But on one of her trips, she found something that would turn out to be way more interesting than dolphins. She saw a bottle sitting there all alone. When she opened it, she discovered a handwritten letter in Italian. A friend helped her translate the note, which began with the sweet words, "Hello, my love." Christine reached out to Dr. Ilaria Serra, an expert in Italian studies, who discovered it was more than just a letter. It was a love poem. It even mentioned the name Giulio D.D. Pisano.
Italy is mostly a Catholic country, spreading ashes at sea against Catholic doctrine.
Dr. Serra believes it was written by Giulio's wife after he passed away, maybe as she scattered his ashes into the sea. The letter ends with a line that'll hit you right in the gut. "I'll meet you again in the infinity of my memories of a past life. May the light shine on you. Thank you for the gift you left me, our daughter." Like and subscribe right now, and you'll have amazing luck for the rest of the week. Proud to have been your companion for eternity, me, Faye, and Ellen. You can almost feel the love and loss in those words. Pretty wild to think about what stories the ocean can carry, huh? Number 2, oldest message. In 1886, a German sea captain threw a message in a bottle into the ocean off the coast of Western Australia. About 131 years and 223 days later, a woman named Tanya Illman stumbled upon that same bottle on Wedge Island, just 180 kilometers north of Perth. Tanya was out walking with her friend Grace, and as they were trekking through the dunes, they noticed a bunch of trash lying around. Being eco-friendly, she decided to do her part and pick some of it up. Then she spotted something different, a cool-looking bottle. Instead of tossing it aside, she passed it to her son's girlfriend, Bree. And here's where things get interesting. Bree noticed a rolled-up piece of paper inside. At first, they couldn't make out what it said, but when they held it up to the light, the faint handwriting started to appear. Tanja, being curious, spent the next few weeks working with the Western Australian Maritime Museum, the German Hydrographic Agency, and a weather bureau to figure out if this thing was real. Number 3, little boy. A mom and her 5-year-old son made an amazing discovery during a casual walk on the beach in Mendocino, California. They stumbled upon an old bottle, and inside was a message from over 30 years ago. Heather Baird and her son Ryder found the note, which was written back in September 1988 by a boy named Chris. The message read, "Hi, my name is Chris. I'm 10 years old and in 5th grade. I live in Sacramento. Call me when you find this."
Hi, my name is Chris, it says. I am 10 years old and in the 5th grade. I live in Sacramento.
To let me know where it floated to shore. And yes, it even had his phone number. Naturally, Heather was curious to track down Chris, but it wasn't as easy as you'd think. After some digging and help from a data company, she managed to find his mom, Jan. And here's the twist. Jan was actually the one who wrote the note for Chris during a camping trip all those years ago. But here's where the story gets emotional. Chris and his mom haven't spoken in 19 years. That's right, 19 years. And now, Jan's biggest wish is to reconnect with her son. In a heartfelt message to Chris, Jan wrote, "The past is the past. I just want to move forward and have some kind of relationship with you." Doesn't that hit you right in the feels? Number 4, Naran Set. Athena McAleer never expected that her message in a bottle would ever be found, but she's so glad it was. Why does this matter so much to her? For Athena, The ocean is more than just waves and water. It's where she feels connected to her mom. Her mother, Cindy Rounds, became seriously ill in August 2009 and passed away from cancer in March 2010. It was a heartbreaking loss for Athena. To honor her mom, Athena wanted to do something meaningful.
After cancer took Cindy Round's life in 2010, her daughter wanted to do something special with her ashes.
She thought about how her mom had always put her kids first and never had the chance to see the world. So, she placed some of her mom's ashes in a bottle, along with a letter. In it, she shared her mom's story, who she was, what she had been through, and how her life had ended. The bottle was set adrift in 2013, and after a couple of years, Athena had pretty much given up hope that anyone would find it. But then, more than 4 years later, and over 1,000 miles away, the bottle washed ashore at Cinnamon Beach, Florida, where Stephanie Winnick happened to spot it. Even if this doesn't inspire you to create your own message in a bottle, I don't know what will. Number 5. NJ Woman. Amy SMI. Murphy was walking through Corson's Inlet State Park in Ocean City when something caught her eye. A cool, aqua-colored glass bottle sitting right on the sand. Curious, she quickly texted her 14-year-old nephew Jack and 16-year-old niece Avery about it. Naturally, they were all super excited and wanted to know what was inside. So, Amy opened the bottle with the help of the teens, and they shared the whole thing on TikTok. But here's where it gets even more interesting. After doing some research and even joining a Reddit group for bottle collectors, Amy discovered that the bottle might date all the way back to 1876. The note inside mentioned a yacht named Neptune from Atlantic City and even came with an old business card. Just goes to show, TikTok never fails to bring out some wild finds. Number 6. Message from 1906. In Tofino, BC, a guy named Steve was on one of his usual beach walks, hunting for anything interesting the tides might have brought in. He's always finding cool stuff, but this time he came across something totally unexpected. Lying in the sand was an old rusty bottle, and inside was a note. The note was dated September 29, 1906. That's over a century ago. The message had a name and an address.
Message written nearly 107 years ago, complete with a name and address.
Earl Willard, steamer Rainier, en route from Frisco to Bellingham, Washington.
Earl Willard, aboard the steamer Rainier, on a trip from San Francisco to Bellingham, Washington. How wild is that? Curious, Steve did some digging and found the ship's registry. It turns out the Rainier ran regular trips between Seattle, Bellingham, and San Francisco, each taking about 10 days to 2 weeks. And admit it, this story kinda makes you want to hit the beach and start hunting for treasures too, doesn't it? Number 7. An archaeologist. During an archaeological dig in northern France, volunteers unearthed something that left everyone in awe, a small glass vial containing a 200-year-old message. The note, written by an archaeologist named P.J. Farrett back in January 1825, talked about his work and even mentioned his involvement in scientific societies of the time. Jai Blondell, who leads the local archaeological team, described the discovery as a magical moment. Here's where it gets even more exciting. If this message is confirmed as genuine, it could smash the current record for the oldest message in a bottle, which stands at 130 years. Number 8. Walton Country. An interesting bottle recently found on the shores of South Walton Beach, grabbing the attention of beachgoers. Inside, there was a heartfelt note, $4 in cash, and a small bag containing the ashes of a Texas man named Brian Mullins.
But he lost his life early to an unexpected heart attack in March.
Brian had a passion for travel, but sadly, he passed away unexpectedly from a heart attack back in March. The note was written by his mom and daughter, and they wanted to honor his dream of continuing his adventures around the world. Now here's where it gets even more touching. Sergeant Paula Pendleton from the Walton County Sheriff's Office found the bottle and felt an instant connection. After losing her life partner last year, she said, "It feels like Brian was sent to me. Maybe my husband sent him, so I could keep going on my own journey. Number 9, strangers meeting, strangers connecting through a message in a bottle. Sounds like something out of a movie, right? But that's exactly what happened to 21-year-old Cassidy Beach while she was hiking some cliffs in Turks and Caicos. She spotted a bottle caught in some marine debris, and inside was a note with a date clearly visible.
Luck, as it is a rare find. Please let me know when and where you found it. I look forward to hearing from you.
The note was from way back, September 30th, 2004. It read, "Greetings. This bottle was tossed off a fishing boat while cod fishing east of Nantucket Island. I hope this brings you good luck because it's a rare find. Please let me know when and where you found it. Looking forward to hearing from you, Pennell Ames. If you found a message in a bottle, would you reach out to the person who sent it? I know I definitely would." Number 10, Rhode Island. While spearfishing on a Friday, 17-year-old Christian Santos found a bottle with a handwritten note inside. He opened it up and discovered a piece of paper inside. What did it say? It turns out the message was written by a 13-year-old back in 2018. It said, "It's Thanksgiving. I'm 13, visiting family in Rhode Island, and I'm from Vermont. And the best part is, there was an email address included for contact." This message had traveled at least 2,400 miles before Christian found it. Here's where it gets even crazier. Christian's family used to live near Boston before moving to Portugal 12 years ago. When Christian shared the discovery, and Sean, now 16, saw the news, his reaction was fantastic. He didn't even remember writing it. Number 11, teens in Houston. 14-year-old Amy Davies was just having fun on a camping trip when she decided to write a letter, stick it in a bottle, and toss it into the water, never thinking anyone would actually find it. It was more than a decade later that the 4-year-old boy fishing with his grandpa stumbled across that same bottle. Amy couldn't believe it when she heard the news. "We thought it'd maybe drift 10 feet, and that'd be the end of it," she said. Number 12, man's childhood message. Brian, Drew, Travis, and Travis's little brother Lance had been best buds for as long as they could remember. One lazy afternoon back in 1995, when they were just 10, they came up with a fun idea. Write a message, stick it in a bottle, and toss it into the bayou near Houston. And that's exactly what they did, then completely forgot about it. Fast forward almost 30 years, and a beach cleanup volunteer named Terry Pettyjohn dug up a thick green bottle buried in the sand.
The only way to get the note was to break the bottle. This is what he read. "If you find this, please call."
Sealed tight, he had to break it open to see what was inside. What he found was a note signed by none other than Travis, Brian, Drew, and Lance. It even had a number and asked the finder to leave a message on their old answering machine. Terry took to Facebook to track them down and found Brian. Now here's the funny part. Did the bottle travel to some exotic location like China or South America? Nope. It only floated about 2 miles down the bayou. So much for a big adventure, right? But hey, it didn't need to travel far to find its way back. Number 13, Hudson Creek. So, back in 2012, this woman was down by the water, cleaning up a bit to get a clearer view of the wildlife. While she was at it, she noticed something in her way. Without thinking much, she picked it up, a random bottle, and tossed it aside. But something about it made her curious. Later, she went back to take a closer look, and guess what? There was a note inside. The handwriting looked like it was from a kid, maybe around 8 or 10 years old. That got her even more interested, so she decided to head to the address written on the note. But when she got there, she found out the family had moved 13 years ago. I mean, what was this kid thinking when he sent that bottle floating into the water? Number 14, Florida couple. Ruth and Lee Henar have always loved beachcombing, but this time they found something incredible, a message in a bottle. Inside was a note from a school in Scotland that said, "We're learning about pirates and want to see how far this message travels. Please write back and tell us where you found the bottle." There was a small typo in the address, but Ruth and Lee were too excited to care. They decided to send a letter anyway, asking when the bottle had been sent, since the note didn't have a date. And guess what? They got a response. The The teacher wrote back, but get this, the school didn't even exist anymore. The teacher explained that the students had sent out several bottles over the years, so who knows, there could still be more of these messages drifting around, waiting to be discovered. Number 15. Sister's Message. Back in March 1989, two sisters, Tabitha Wolfer and Melissa Kidwell, who loved writing letters to pen pals, came up with a creative idea. They decided to toss a message in a bottle into the Cacapon River, hoping someone, someday, might find it.
But as soon as I opened Facebook, I recognized my handwriting as a child, so it was a little odd at first, and then when I realized, then it was just really exciting, and
Fast forward 27 years. During a fishing trip in Morgan County, a couple, Dean Twigg and Amanda Smith, stumbled upon the bottle. Amazingly, after nearly 3 decades, the letter inside was still intact. Thanks to Facebook, Dean and Amanda tracked down Tabitha and Melissa. Number 16. Found in France. Now let me tell you about a 10-year-old kid from Newfoundland named Devin Moore and the wild journey his message in a bottle took across the Atlantic. So what did Devin actually write in that letter? It's pretty great. He says, "Hey friends, it's Devin. I live in Salvage and I like to go fishing with my dad.
Every story I write down in school, I'm basically writing with fishing.
We're lucky you found this bottle. The weather's been a mix of good and bad." Devin admitted he didn't really know what to write at first, so he just went with whatever came to mind. Honestly, he didn't think the bottle would make it very far. He figured it would just sink. But clearly, luck was on his side. Number 17. Mashpee Beach. Beach litter is usually just trash, right? But one woman found something a little different. While checking out some seaweed, she spotted a bright orange bottle. Inside, a letter written in pencil about 60 years ago. The paper was soaked, but she could still make out most of it. It mentioned a 14-year-old named Wendy and included an address. That address led to a house on Kitticut Road in Worcester, Rico's family home. They posted about it on social media, and things got interesting. People started to recognize the name. Could it be Wendy Warner? Word spread fast, and eventually, Wendy's family heard about it. Her granddaughter, Asian, confirmed that Wendy's family did, in fact, live in that house. Well, I love stories like this. Here's hoping Wendy and her family get to share some good laughs over this letter. Number 18. Decades-old message. You know when you toss a message in a bottle into the ocean and you wonder where it'll end up? Well, this one didn't wash up on a beach. It arrived in the mail at a motel on New Hampshire's seacoast. Paula Pierce, whose family owns the Beachcomber Motel, got the surprise of a lifetime when she opened the package. Inside was a message in a bottle written by her own father decades ago. The note, tucked away sometime between 1960 and 1980, read, "Return to 419 Ocean Boulevard and receive a reward of $150 from Tina, owner of the Beachcomber." Here's the best part. Tina is Paula's mom, and Paula's pretty sure her dad wrote it as a joke, just to mess with her. Now, it feels like her dad is pulling a prank from beyond the grave. Number 19. Bottle contains bold question. Tanya Illman was just casually strolling along a beach in Wedge Island, Western Australia, hunting for pretty shells. But then something caught her eye, a quick glint in the sand. Curious, she wandered over and found an old, dark bottle. No cork, no cap. This thing looked ancient. They carefully shook the bottle, and out slipped a small, rolled-up piece of paper tied with a thread. The writing was faded but readable, and it was dated 1886.
He dug his heels into the sand at the sound of her alarmed voice. Tanya showed him the mysterious old gin bottle she held in her hands.
So, what was the message all about? Turns out, back in 1886, German researchers threw thousands of bottles into the ocean for a wild experiment, tracking ocean currents. The note inside asked whoever found it to jot down their location and send it back to Germany. Number 20. Instead of a message, a human washes up on the shore. In 1996, 2 college students were just trying to watch a boat race near the Columbia River when one of them stepped on something strange. What they pulled out of the water wasn't just a rock or a bottle, it was a human skull. They had just found the Kennewick Man, or as some call him, the Ancient One, a skeleton that turned out to be more than 8,000 years old. That's older than the pyramids, older than Stonehenge, and one of the most complete ancient skeletons ever found in the Americas. Scientists couldn't believe their luck, but this discovery triggered a massive legal battle that would rage on for almost 20 years. Native American tribes in the area immediately claimed the remains as their ancestor, invoking the Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act. They demanded the skeleton be returned to them for a proper burial. Scientists, on the other hand, wanted to study the remains, arguing that Kennewick Man might not even be Native American at all. Some claimed he resembled Polynesians, or even people from Southeast Asia. This was a big deal. If true, it could change everything we thought we knew about the first people to arrive in North America. In 2017, after a fight that lasted more than 20 years, Kennewick Man was finally returned to the Columbia Basin tribes. He was buried in a private ceremony far from the spotlight, finally bringing peace to the Ancient One. Number 21. Centuries-old message that was not in a bottle. 8-year-old Patrick Turner and his mum, Julie, made an unbelievable discovery while taking a stroll along South Ponte Vedra Beach in Florida. What they thought was just driftwood turned out to be something way more exciting, part of an ancient shipwreck. The wooden hull they found, a 48-foot-long section, is believed to date back to the 1700s or 1800s.
This is hard to find under the bottom of the ocean, much less something that floats ashore in our backyard. This is very, very rare. It's like the holy grail of shipwrecks.
How do we know that? Well, Roman numerals are carved into the sides of the hull's ribs, and it's held together by wooden pegs known as trunnels, which were commonly used back in the day. These clues make archaeologists believe the wreck could be a piece of maritime history from centuries ago. Experts are calling it the Holy Grail of shipwrecks. Number 22. Student's message. Something pretty cool went down at an elementary school in Massachusetts. Any guesses what it was? Yes, the same old, a letter. But a letter arrived all the way from a fisherman in France. Written in French, the letter explained how he found a bottle while cleaning up trash on a beach. And inside was a message dated October 1997. So, who wrote it? Turns out, it was from a 5th grader named Benjamin Lyons, written for a school science project on ocean currents, erosion, and climate change. Benjamin, who's now living in DC, had no idea his old project would ever resurface. But his parents, who still live in Sandwich, were thrilled when they got the news. Number 23. Heartfelt Message. On a beach near the Kennedy Space Center, Don spotted a bottle floating in a ditch. It wasn't just trash, it was something worth checking out. Using a stick, he pulled it out. What he and his crew found inside hit them harder than they expected. The message was from a family remembering Barbara Lamb, a woman who had passed away. One letter from her sister Victoria stood out the most. Victoria started writing to Barbara, but before she could finish,
put that unsent letter, the tribute that Barbara never read, into a bottle in the ocean.
She got the devastating news that Barbara had passed away. To honor her memory, the family placed that unfinished letter into a bottle and sent it out into the ocean. 3 years later, the bottle ended up about 50 miles away, far from where it started. Number 24. Local woman's message. Nearly 20 years ago, Rita Gunham tossed a simple message in a bottle into the ocean while visiting her daughter in Gloucester, Massachusetts. It was just for fun, and she didn't think much of it. Eventually, she forgot all about it, but recently, an 11-year-old boy named Dallas, living almost 1,000 miles away in the small fishing village of Woods Harbor, Nova Scotia, found that same bottle washed up on the shore. Still, that didn't stop Dallas and his mum. They tracked her down, and when Rita found out, she was stunned. Her long-forgotten message had traveled across the Atlantic for nearly 2 decades. Now, Rita and Dallas are planning to stay in touch. And who knows, maybe one day, Dallas will get to visit New York and meet her in person. Number 25. Father's message. While cleaning the windows of her glass-bottom boat in Michigan's Cheboygan River, Jennifer Dowker spotted something that immediately caught her attention: a small green bottle resting on the riverbed. But this wasn't just any bottle. It had been lying there for nearly 100 years, and inside was a message from the past. The bottle, sealed with a crumbling cork, was about 2/3 full of water. Jennifer carefully extracted the delicate soaked paper, and as she unrolled it, she uncovered a time capsule from 1926. Among the people who saw the post was Michelle Morrow Primo, the daughter of George Morrow, the man who had written that message nearly a century ago. How remarkable is that? A message lost for generations, only to be reunited with the family of the man who penned it. And that was it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to hit the bell icon to get all our videos on time. Until next time.